Well, hello again. This is part two, what I'll call the practical part. You might have thought when you got into the last video that when I said this is all about economic analysis, I was talking about the practical part of the course and not the content. Of course, I was not. This is the practical part of the course. So let's get into it and try to make this one much faster than the last. The first thing to point out to you is that this is going to take some time on your part. And what I've offered you is exactly how much time students report working on this course in fall of 2023. And you can see there, I have the spring numbers also in the course itself. You can see those. We had a few people say they spent less than 2 hours and some that said they spent more than 8. Your mileage will vary depending upon how well you're getting on with this course and so forth and so on. But when you're thinking about the course, recognize that this is an online course. The amount of time that I would imagine we would spend together if we were in a face-to-face, there would be guaranteed 3 hours of class per week, in which case you'd be sitting in a chair in a room with me. And it probably is not unreasonable to say somewhere around 2 hours of transit time, depending upon where you're coming. This includes walking, parking, and maybe driving, whatever. And then another 2 or 3 hours of study, which you would have to do in order to be able to understand the material. And that's about 7 or 8 hours a week. And you could see that's actually at the high end of what people are reporting. But the point is this: make a plan to dedicate as much time as you can in order to get ahead of this course, stay ahead, and do well. This is especially true in the beginning of the course. I'll tell you just a little bit about me. I'm very involved in scouting. I did the first data science day at the University of Akron. I've told you a little bit about my SAS experience, and I have 8 grandchildren. I don't know if that kind of helps personalize things, but there I am. So the first thing that we're going to look at is the fact that we have 2 books in this course. The second book, because it's not the primary book, is the book we'll use starting tomorrow or as soon as you begin working on Module 2A, which is due next Tuesday. And this is called Henry Hazlitt's Economics in One Lesson, the shortest and surest way to understand basic economics. It's actually an excellent, excellent text. The second one, which is our primary text, so I call it textbook number 1, is Greenlaw, Shapiro, and McDonald. Now, I know Greenlaw and Shapiro very well. I went to school with David Shapiro at Ohio State, and this is part of the OpenStax series, which means that it is free. Both books are indeed free. So taking the first book first, Economics in One Lesson, when you go into that website, the link you'll see in Module 1 and on the syllabus, you'll be able to do some downloads. Now, one of the things I want to point out here is you can download the PDF, which is printed in a very old style. It's readable, but it's not a modern typesetting. Okay, so you can nevertheless download that and have the PDF. Or you can download the audio version, which I highly recommend. But that's only chapters 1, 2, and I believe 11. I have the details elsewhere in the course. And it's really worthwhile having, but it's not the whole text, so just don't, be aware. When you go to the website, though, you can read the entire book, search it, use the titles, jump ahead and back and forth, all online. So you can look at it right on the web page, so it shouldn't be a problem. The second book, which is our primary book, is part of the OpenStax series. And here you can do the same thing. You can view it online, or you can download a PDF, and that PDF is a full version. with all the color graphs, everything there, so you can see that pretty easily. What is not free is if you want to buy a printed copy. Now, I don't think you need a printed copy, but if you want one, there you go. Please don't wait to start the course waiting for the printed copy. That's not an excuse. I have no control over how soon you can get that, but I do know this. You can have the PDF and you can have the online version instantly, in which case there's no excuse not to get started with that book altogether. By the way, a few people report they don't read the text. I will tell you that correlates with a low grade, so please read the text. This course is 100% online, and it has been since 1923. This course is now old enough to drink. It is 21 years since I have offered this course. It was the first course in the College of Arts and Sciences at the University of Akron, and that was, of course, before economics moved to the business school. It is designed from the ground up to be online. It is not at all like you would experience if you were in a classroom, so don't make that mistake. It is not forced by the pandemic or any other online trends. In fact, we set the trends. No meetings are required. It's 100% asynchronous. However, if your scores are low, I will force an intervention. The interventions often are email, where I respond and you have to respond to me in order to move forward. But sometimes we might have to use a conference program online using Microsoft Teams. Information is on the home page. Now, interventions take away from a very busy schedule, so please don't let yourself get into that position. And you must log on to this course daily, and I would say every 2 days at a minimum, because you will be getting things from me as well as finding out things that you have to do to get them to me. Don't get behind in this course. Almost everyone who fails this course has done so by falling victim to procrastination for one reason or another. I will work with you if you fall behind and you have a good reason, but if you're just not feeling it, then you'll probably take a 0 and move forward. Basically, everybody in this class who works, stays on time, and does all the material gets an A in the course. Not because it's an easy A, guarantee you it's not, but because the way the course is set up, it's set up on a mastery basis, and you have to master a module in order to move forward. All contact with me is basically email. That's my email address there, and one of the primary ways we stay in touch is called the required learning assessments, and I'll talk a little bit more about that. Know this, you have to use Microsoft Word in order to, when you're going to download those and process them and send them back to me, it must be a Microsoft Word. Do not try to use any other software because those are Microsoft Forms and they don't react well to other software. In fact, they react pretty badly. When you email me in this class, I want you to remember this tag and include it all the time. I get a ton of email from this class and other things that I'm doing, and this will allow the filters to catch your email and that I will be able to search for it, respond to you, and so forth. You must use your UANet ID email. Do not use your personal email, your business email, or anything like that ever. You must use the University of Akron email, and when you email me, use E244 www.fall 2024. Now, we can use MS Teams. There's a link in the course, but that's always by arrangement. Never call my university office phone. I don't use it. In fact, I'm usually never in my office, so be aware. Now, what is required? Weekly, formally required contact points. There's going to be 12 learning assessments, which are basically emails by you, these Microsoft Forms, and 3 writing assignments. Not to mention the quizzes, and we'll talk a little bit more about structure in a second. Course is available 24/7. It's designed in modules. and the due dates and closure dates are strictly enforced, and I'm going to define those for you in just a minute, and I mean strictly. So first, Module 1. The introduction to the course is what you're doing right now. You wouldn't have found this lecture without being in Module 1. Module 1 must be concluded and submitted. That means submitting the learning assessment by Tuesday of the first week. If that's not today and you're beyond that point, you need to get it in instantly, and you'll probably be hearing from me to get that done. Now, Module 2A is the next thing we're doing, and that's our first writing assignment, and it's due Tuesday of week 2. And then we're going to have a series of modules, 12 of them, 2B, 3, 4, there is no Module 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, there is no Module 10, and 11 through 15 are the quiz-based modules. This means you're going to be reading in Green Law Shapiro and McDonald, you're going to be looking at the PowerPoints and other materials on the module, and you're going to be taking a quiz. Those results are due on Tuesdays. So there's something due every Tuesday. Each quiz-based module is 2 to 4 chapters, depending upon how it's set up, and you will have to go through those quizzes, and they're 10-item quizzes, and you can repeat them up to 3 times. But please don't take them back to back. That's not the idea of a mastery course. You take it first time, you investigate your misses, you go back and study what you missed. A number of you are going to ignore me on this, and you will pay the price, I guarantee you. You study, take the second time, study again, take the third time, and that's how you get an A, because you will bring up your score with each of those attempts. If you take all 3 attempts back to back, there's no question that you're going to get the same score every time. You're just trying to play the lottery to say, well, maybe I'll get a better score. I only got a 6 because I really don't know this. The next time you take it, you're going to get a 6 or less. At the end of every quiz item, you will submit a learning assessment. And you can see the times there. I give you an extra almost half hour there to get the learning assessment in. Module 2A, 7A, and 15A are writing assignments. Points on writing assignments are 25% of the entire course. Some bonuses do exist, but I do not advertise those. If you find them, you can take them. If you can't find them, you don't get them. Now, here's our home page. It's exactly what it looks like when you log on, and I want to point out a few things. The first is there's some buttons at the top which are for quick reference, and you can easily read those and see what those are. But let me tell you, the learning objectives for each quiz, for instance, that is exactly what's on each quiz. Exactly. There's no excuse not to know what is there. Plus, they're really useful when you miss problem number 5 on Module 3. You can come back, look at this button area here, look up what is question number 3. What learning assessment objective is that? Where do I need to go study a little harder so I can understand this? How hard is each quiz is something you might be interested in. And economic resources is a bunch of materials that will help you find resources outside the class and other information. You'll be encouraged to go through each of these in Module 1. Always start and complete everything through the content. There are other ways, because I cannot control that black menu up there. There are other ways to find tests and surveys and discussions and things that I may or may not be using. The only thing that you should be using is content, and I'll show you what that looks like in a second. Now, how do you stay on track? Here's our home page again. Notice the calendar is in 3 places. It's actually in more, but it's all over the place. But there are 2 calendars. One I call the printable calendar, and that's sort of my analog version. That's the one I wrote out. That's the one that looks like the calendar you would hang on your wall. And then there is the one in the dotted circle, which is I call my digital calendar. That's programmed into the course. There's an incredible amount of programming and a lot of tedious setting of dates And here's the deal. If there is ever a date wrong on the digital side, and it disagrees, that is, with the printed calendar rules, if you find a disagreement, and I've tried proofreading this like crazy, I don't see any, but it's probably there. Just email me and let me know, and I will fix that date within the digital world. Now, what are the due dates? They're Tuesday. They're in green on the calendar, and you must finish it that day. You do not get permission to go to another day or 2 days or 3 days. I don't care what's going on in your world. This is a highly flexible course. You can arrange your schedule around this course, but be aware that there's a due date every single week. Now on the calendar, you'll notice that there's a closure date. So Module 2A, our essay, is due on September 3rd. But it looks like I don't have to do it until September 9 because it's still available. Well, that's not true. It's due on Tuesday. The dates between Tuesday and Monday, those days are mine, not yours. It is not an extension, a grace period. You do not have permission to go into that area. That is so that if I have to do an intervention, that is still available for you to follow my lead and do something before the 9th. After the 9th, there's no use in doing interventions because if you notice on the following Tuesday, there's something due. Now, take a big view. There's something due every Tuesday of the course, no exceptions, including finals week. I couldn't show December easily on this page, so I didn't. And there are 3 writing assignments. In the case of the first writing assignment, you have a full week. On the case of the second writing assignment, you have a full week, but they're not structured the same. The first writing assignment is basically read the book, follow the directions, write an essay, include the 4 points that I want you to conclude. Okay? Easy. The second one is much different. It is 3 parts. In each part, there is an initial quiz that you will take. It's called a test of your ignorance, and you'll see how that comes when we get there. What do you really know? And then you'll have some assigned readings and videos, and you'll have a second quiz to take, but this one will basically have 1 question, which is an essay. So you'll be doing that 3 times, and that's why there's something due on almost every day or every other day during that week. The final data analytic project in December, actually, if you look on November 6th, starts then. You will be in the final project. If you have completed, and only if you've completed Module 11 by the 5th of November, will you see the final analytic project on November 6th. You then have about 5 weeks, 5.5 weeks to complete it before it is due. Think of it as a term paper, and I'm not going to go any further into that. It is a pretty big deal. I said to start at the content. This is what content of Module 1 looks like. And it's going to have some introductory materials at the very beginning. I try to tell you how much video is there so you can do some planning. There is not 90 minutes of video in every single module. Some are heavy, some are not. And then once you get that, you can work your way through. I do want to talk about 2 things. There is a video, a lecture on how to complete the learning assessments. And basically, what you're doing on the learning assessments here is trying to figure out what you need to do, right? And it tells you exactly in this video how to walk through it. Now, your mileage, your computer, the way it looks might be a little bit different, but it may help you. If you don't think you need it, don't watch the video and give it a try. But if you're having problems, you can come back and check that. Now, here's what the learning assessment for Module 1 looks like. There's a big circle up there that says here's the heading. It is a Word document. You must use Microsoft Word. There are some conditions that have to be met or this learning assessment doesn't even appear. You don't get to see these. That's something the instructor only can see. But that, if you look at it, is you have to visit all these different content topics. Let me just save you worrying about that. Open every single file in Module 1, and then the learning assessment will appear. How do you work this out? Well, first you download the file to your computer. You fill it out using Microsoft Word. You save the file to your computer as a docx document, a Microsoft Word document, and you email it to me with the required title. It's there in red. And then I get it, I react to it, and I will always respond. So you will hear from me about your learning assessments. Now there's 3 pressure points in this course. The first is we have a busy start. There's a lot due in the first week and second week and even third. There's something due every time, and that's much different than many other courses that you might experience where, well, you don't have anything until midterm, so I don't have to study right away. You've got to get a good start. And the second pressure point is the fact that there's a long, steady routine. Module due every Tuesday. That means you're going to have to stay active with the class, stay up with the class, and make sure that you're okay. And then the third pressure point is that there are 3 things due in the last week. Module 15, 15A, and 16. Now 16 is just the evaluations, but they are required, and you're given 10 points no matter what you say to me. But you have to complete those to get those free 10 points. And Module 15A is the writing assignment. That alone is a big deal, and it's due in finals week. So get a good start, stay at it, work ahead. Now, the next thing in the content module is a video and some explanation about how to get rid of your procrastination, what to kind of do. And I hope that works for you. And that's it for now, and I'll see you in the next lecture.